One of the greatest films ever made just made it to streaming, and some of you are immediately going to say this is not my type of thing, and you're going to be wrong. Back in the mid-1980s, the film Amadeus was a phenomenon. It didn't just win all of the awards, including 8 Oscars, but it was a huge box office hit, like actual people went to go see it. Now, if you Google it, some of you are going to say, oh, it looks like this long, stuffy biopic about Mozart. It's not. The whole premise of the film is basically a prank. It is a completely fictional story that happens to feature real historical figures. And it asks the question, what if the actual composer Mozart, maybe the greatest musical genius ever in the history of the species, was a weird little freak? And what if his real-life musical peer Salieri was a cranky, different kind of weirdo? I am not kidding when I say it is straight up a SpongeBob and Squidward situation. But most importantly, this film absolutely assumes that you know nothing about classical music and that you don't care about it. The opening scene is literally a guy saying, I don't know anything about composers, any of that stuff. And another guy saying, okay, even if you can't name a single composer, I bet you've heard this.
About this one.
And then the story it tells is of a relationship that you will experience in your life at some point if you haven't already. Where there's one person who objectively doesn't really have anything to complain about. They have everything they wanted in their life. But then they look over and they notice this other person who just seems to be getting more pleasure out of life. Everything just seems to be easier for them. They're more comfortable in their own skin. People like them more. They seem to have just had an easier path in life. And so even though in your own situation you should be doing fine, it drives you crazy because you simultaneously hate them and love them and wish you were them. And meanwhile, the other guy's just totally oblivious to all this. Now, there's one more thing you need to know, because when I said this movie is coming to streaming for the first time, some of you were very confused because you've seen the movie. But the reason I'm talking about Amadeus as if it is a lost masterpiece is because there was a Star Wars special edition situation with this. For some reason, decades ago, they decided the only version you could get was the 3-hour-long director's cut, which everybody hates, including the director. The theatrical cut was just released a couple weeks ago, to the point that if you go to Amazon Prime, it's actually hard to find it. The version you're looking for should have this thumbnail, and it should be 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Apple's streaming thing has it for $4. This is not an ad, this is just where I found it.